Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So I asked what this conversation was going to be about, and what I heard is the shift that changes your life. So there's shifts that are happening, thank God, because we don't want to stay in the same stagnant, crusty space that we've kind of been forced to be in for a little bit now. And it's just time, right? It's just time. Time for, I don't know what, but time. It's time. Okay. Here goes, guys. I'm just trying to get some cards so we can talk. I'm feeling like we're living in a twisted Disney movie as of late. I am not even joking. Not even joking. Feels like a twisted Disney movie. All right. Here goes. All right. Let's just put all these cards right here. All right. The shift that changes your life. Ooh, okay. Ooh, okay. So there is a need to acknowledge a pattern, a cycle, whatever this is for you. Okay. So there was some upside down magical stuff, dark magic, dark intention, desire to affect you in a malignant way. This began in spring. This is when whoever this is, whatever this is, started with their fixation on you. There has been a heavy, heavy, heavy fixation on you, whether you acknowledge it or not, whether you're aware of it or not. There has been a very heavy fixation. So, what needs to happen? Several things need to happen. The feel is that some of the things that are already happening are very much the things that will get you to that next part, the things that will help you to make better sense of what you've been going through, because you've been going through a lot, babe. You've been going through a lot. Soul is telling me to share this old ass video, whatever. It just has to airdrop. So this thing that's been upside down since spring, I don't believe that you initiated it. I believe that you allowed, you gave passive permission in some way. And because you gave passive permission in some way, it was able to actually affect you in a negative manner. What needs to happen, what needs to be done is you need to really fully claim your sovereignty, fully claim your personal power. It's important. This is definitely not something that you can like BS your way through. You can't just pretend that none of this happened, stick your head in the sand and do nothing about it. There has to be a corrective response. Ooh, that's very specific. There has to be a corrective response. So typically that means that you need to reach a place where you acknowledge what is being done to you is wrong. It is wrong. It is not okay. That shift alone, it's profound. I don't know what this means. It's profound. Oh, that's why you want me to share this. Oh. I'm like, why do you want me to share this for? It's freaking weird. Okay, I get it. All right. Here goes. This is an old video. I released a portion, another clip publicly recently. It's really not that big of a deal. So, this right here. You can go through all the movements. You can go through all the movements. You can do all the things that need to be done. But until you allow, all you're doing is pressuring yourself, creating more blockages, and not getting the results that you actually are trying to produce. So take a look at this. Ah. Okay, too much pressure, too much pressure, too much pressure. So first, don't mind my girl drinking her water like she never drank before. But do you see that? Right? What was the difference between all those other attempts to detonate a charge and me finally just like, okay, let me stop messing around. Let me stop being so in my head, creating so much resistance. I'm going through the same movements. I'm flowing energy through the same pathways, yet nothing happens. Watch it again. Watch it again. Nothing. Nothing. Okay. Too much pressure. Too much pressure. Had a Spider-Man moment. Okay, now I'm serious. How does this apply to your day-to-day life? How does it apply? Are you thinking that just because you're doing the movements, just because you're thinking logically what needs to be thought, that you're guaranteed an outcome? All I had to do was quietly shift within myself between that last attempt to detonate a charge in an aerial manner and me actually pushing intentionally with no more ego involved, no more forcing, no more trying to prove. It was just like, you know what? I've built up so much frustration in these couple seconds where I'm not using the truth of my reality. Now I'm frustrated with myself. Now it's not even about proving that I can do it. Now it's just me needing to release that frustration, right? Because really that's all that is. I'm releasing my frustration at that point. You have to understand that some of the things that are frustrating you right now is going to serve as the fuel for what you're bringing to fruition. I don't need to prove anything. I don't need to prove anything. I just need to exist and allow the proof to be witnessed by those who are interested in seeing it as I exist. Things that happen they just happen. They're just part of your day-to-day life. It's really not a big deal. It really isn't. When you make something a bigger deal in your head and your heart than what it actually is, that creates a lot of blockages because then your insecurities and your fears start to factor in. And as that happens, you start to try and control. And as you start to try and control, then something else happens. And what is that? What is that happens? Well, you start to create blockages that, if left long enough, that's going to be damn near impossible to remove in a peaceful, amicable way, right? Because you're fighting yourself, you're fighting your soul. You fight enough, you can't resolve that in an amicable manner. It's going to require some type of destruction. Does it require destruction of you? Absolutely not. That's something you choose unknowingly. So what would it require? Maybe a sledgehammer to that wall that you allowed the cement to set for. See, for some of us, we're not just laying bricks, we're laying cinder blocks. What's the difference between a brick and a cinder block? A brick is a solid piece and it's nowhere near as thick as cinder block. Cinder block is hollow in its core. So as you stack that cinder block, you could actually fill it. You could fill the core of that cinder block, making it that much more impenetrable. And don't ask me how I know this. I've been on an interesting journey. When you're building a bomb shelter, you don't just use brick, you use cinder block. Not only do you stack the cinder blocks and use cement between them, you're also supposed to fill that cinder block with sand, with dirt, with concrete if you want. You need at least, I believe it was like a foot, 12 inches thick, in order to prevent radioactive fallout from penetrating through and entering into the shelter space that you've created. Don't ask me how I know this. Are you building cinder block walls? Is your need to control and your fear of not being able to handle whatever life brings your way, is it causing you to use cinder block, fill that cinder block, rather than just use the typical brick? And are you chaotic in your response? Because if you're chaotic in your response, you're probably not building a linear line of wall. A linear line of wall, you could hammer that down fairly easily. You just get it in the right spots and the structural integrity will falter. And then you hit it one more time, the whole thing will crumble. It will fall over. But if you build a brick wall that has a curve to it with a specific type of angle, right? A curvature, it distributes that pounding more easily, more widespread. That shit's not going to fall. You're going to have to hammer every single part of that wall. Don't ask me how I know these things. Don't ask me how I know these things. So when you're chaotic in the way you respond, in the way you avoid the very things you need to focus on, the things you need to face, that's going to determine just how much effort it's going to require to knock those things down, knock those walls down, and allow your energy to flow. Now, why are we even talking about this? Well, whoever this is, this bichacho, órale pues, okay, whoever this bichacho is, they've triggered something in you. They've triggered something. I don't know what. You responded. You got triggered, so you responded. You're going to need to take that wall down. And however thick that wall is going to determine how much destruction you'll feel as you go through the process of dismantling that wall. This is not something you can strong arm your way through. This process that you're in, it's going to have to be somewhat thought out. Not completely, because you can't really fully control the entire circumstance, but it needs to be somewhat thought out. You need to have some general plan of action so that this can happen appropriately. Now, whoever this is, their passion is upside down. They're so angry with you. They're so jealous of you. Who cares about them? As long as it's not you using your passion in an upside down way, who cares? Who cares who doesn't like you? As long as you're not allowing them to have access, as long as you're not allowing them to have influence over the way you experience certain things, who cares? Who cares? Conserve your energy for what you want to build, for what you're being asked to build by soul. It's important. You got to do this. So something's going to come to fulfillment for you in your favor. And it's going to be because of this upside down feminine. This right here is a trigger. It's what's going to bring everything into fruition. Mm. Mm, mm, mm. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, mm, mm. Let's see what happens. Mm. All of this that's happening. Okay. This is a journey that you're on, a long way home. This is a journey that you're on, and you can either, as you go through this journey, you're given a place to stay. You're given a space of safeness within yourself. You can either float through this, right? And you have this amazing space to exist in, just floating along, see the romance of life. Or you can be on this same exact journey, looking over the edge, scared AF, making yourself sick from the absolute fear of what might happen, what type of atrocities might take place. I mean, you can't guarantee anything. So why like place a bet on the worst case scenario? Like, I don't know how to play roulette. I just know that um there's this table that has numbers and colors and you can bet on a color, you can bet on a number, you can put your bet where 4 boxes meet or 2 boxes meet that have different numbers, and you only get like half or a fourth of what you would win if you stuck to one number, one square. I don't really know how it works, but that's the thing. You know how difficult it is to bet on one number and to have that number hit? That the chances of that are very, very low. It's like the number you're betting on is the worst number, and you're putting all of your chips right there. Why do that? If you want to have a higher likelihood of a return on your investment, um, I mean, you're not going to get as big a return because there's less risk, but you just pick a color. I mean, I don't know how many numbers. There's like what, 30 numbers? I don't know. I don't gamble like that. There's let's just say there's 50 numbers on that table. Um, half are black, half are red. That's a 50% potentiality of you winning. There's less risk there. If you're going to bet on something that makes you feel very alive. So that way, if it doesn't pan out in the way that you were hoping, it could be something that it was just something fun to do. It was just something fun to do. Mm. Michael says, look in my pictures. What am I looking for? Look through. Oh, my goodness, my guy. Scroll all the way up, you say? What am I looking for, sir? Uh, these people, I don't have their permission to post their picture. When you listen to soul, the payout is big. I'm using that analogy, right? I made an analogy. And I know that sometimes my stories, my life stories that I share, although very factual and very literal, it's people will be hard pressed to believe it. People who don't know me, they're hard pressed to believe it because it sounds like it's absolute bullshit. Um, Remember how I told you guys that I won that night and I kept winning just because I would let soul talk to me, and then I got given a stack of chips that were 500. $500 chips, a stack of them. $500 per chip, per chip. Was I trying to win? Was I chasing something? You know what happened that night? I went with 2 former associates to Vegas, and um they had asked me if we would win, and I felt like, yeah, I feel the charge. I can usually feel a charge running through me if I'm going to hit some type of jackpot. And so I said, yeah. And we were gambling for a bit already, maybe a couple hours, 2 hours, maybe. Um, and they were both losing tremendously. And I was just like, whatever. And then at one point, one of my former associates was like, we probably need to finish up here and head back to the Airbnb already. And I was like, okay. Okay. And then I decided, like, all right, we're leaving already. So better hit. And then so it hit. I wasn't chasing it. I wasn't desperate for it. But if I remember correctly, which I believe I do, um, those associates, they were then desperate, like, how come you fucking won and we didn't? Ask yourself that. Ask yourself that. I mean, you act like I stole your abundance or something. I wasn't chasing that. One in particular was chasing it, absolutely chasing it. Um, and then that one was like, okay, we need to go back to the room. At which point the other associate basically was like, we'll just take an Uber back. Because that other associate was going to try and use me to manifest for them. And I was like, okay, we play longer. I have a lot to play with at this point. Like, we play longer. It's no biggie. And because I wasn't in a space of chasing, everyone that bet on what I bet, they hit. And there's just something about when the people you're with wins with you that makes it that much more enjoyable. I don't take pleasure in being the only winner, right? So there were people watching, and they began to notice the pattern. Everything I bet on always hits. And then they began to all wait for me to put my chips on the table. And I have pictures of them too. They were so happy. Um, I love to share. And maybe that's part of what needs to shift. For some people, this mindset of you've given so much to everyone else, and now it's just you. It's time for you, 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 you. And it's almost coming from a space of desperation, right? This space of it's not fair, rather than a space of, you know, I have given, and it's time that I just allow myself to receive. I need to allow. not take, not hoard, but just allow, right? So now if you allow yourself, what will happen? You're not going to be banking on this long shot of a worst case scenario, because I mean, the whole conversation started with this image, this long shot of the worst possible potentiality happening, you being shot out of the sky and plummeting to your destruction, right? No, 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 no. That's chance of that is slim to none. If you stay in that mindset of being afraid of the worst possible thing happening, you're going to miss your opportunity to experience some treasured moments, some treasured memories, right? You're always going to hold on to this balloon that encapsulates your rain cloud, always waiting for the rain to start. I used to hate the rain as a child, as a young adult, as a full-blown adult. I hated rain. Why? Why? I don't know. It just makes everything soggy. And that just totally upsets the balance of my senses. I hate soggy clothes, soggy pants. The bottom half, the bottom part of your pants that accidentally touch the water. I hate that. I hate that. How did I get over my disdain for the rain? Because I don't have to go outdoors if I don't want to. I don't have to. I can choose to. I'm not a prisoner in my home. I can choose to, but I don't have to. I'm in control of what I experience. So now I can experience the rain and just be like, I love the sound of rain. I love watching it from behind a window. Learning to love the things that increase the poetry in your life, because now you understand just how powerful you actually are, that you are the one in control of what you will experience. That's a major, major thing. Major, major thing. Moon dance. You hold on to these things that are hidden, walking across a tight wire. What if the things that you hide about yourself are the very things that can help to uplift you? The very things that will solidify your balance. What if? I showed that video a short while ago. That video of me still playing with lightning. Do you not think it's odd that lightning can hit so powerfully, yet there's no sound? The audio is on. It's recording me breathing and talking to myself, but there's no sound. Isn't that odd? Isn't that odd? Why would there be no sound? Maybe because I wasn't open to hearing. I simply wanted to see the very proof of the things that I hide about myself. And that's not even my full potentiality. That's not my full capacity. That's literally me messing around with my kids. That is me playing. Imagine how solidified I would be, even on the most improperly installed tight wire. I mean, does she look like she's struggling? Not at all. Not at all. It seems like she's simply crossing the line. Crossing the line to get to the other side. What lines need to be crossed? Because there's a shift that's trying to take place, and this shift is going to change your life. If you're crossing, here's a tight wire. If you're crossing the line like this, you're going from zero space to zero space, you're probably going to fall. If you're crossing the line like this, you have a surface, despite it being very slim and unstable. There's a surface for you to get from point A to point B. So long as you remain centered, you will naturally have balance. So long as you keep being pulled from your space of center by all of these like nonsensical bullshittery. Can we call it that? Bullshittery. Then you're going to be struggling. You're going to fight and fight and fight to rebalance and rebalance and rebalance and rebalance. You don't need to do all of that. Do you have to fight to balance yourself on a bike? Maybe at the very start. Maybe if you slow down too slow. But for the most part, you just keep right on going and you naturally will find your center of gravity. And as you do that, existing in that space of centeredness, you'll naturally have balance as a byproduct. Minimal effort. Minimal effort. It's the fear that causes you to fight the changes, to fight the shifting that brings about the changes. One of my kids refuses, like abso-freaking-lutely refuses to learn to ride a bike. He refuses. I'm just like, bro. And what's funny is recently we have this balance board. The bottom of the board is basically like half a ball. And then you have a flat surface and you stand on that. And because the bottom is round, it's an unstable surface. And it helps to develop your balance. It helps to begin working any muscular imbalance in your ankles, your feet, your lower legs. It's an amazing little contraption. It's just a ball with something on top of it, a flat surface. And it's hard to balance on that. Except my one kid who absolutely refuses to ride a bike because he says he don't trust it. Okay. Okay. He says he does not trust it. He does not trust the bike. I respect that. I respect that. So he's filled with fear when it comes to just the topic of, hey, do you want to try? He doesn't even want to talk about it. When he stands on this unstable surface, I mean, Jesus Christ, his balance is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. He can balance that minimal effort. He can balance on that board, minimal effort. And I was trying to tell him, like, look, you're phenomenal with balance. It's the same thing with a bike. You're just sitting. It's because you're afraid and you try and go so slow. You slow it down so much, it creates instability. One time we had this bike for him that it doesn't have any pedals. It's just a 2 wheels. It's the frame of the bike with no pedals. And we went and rode around a freaking reservoir. And he was jamming. You just push with your feet. It's like a Flintstones bike. You just push with your feet. And he was balancing perfectly fine. He had hella fun. But then you put in this thing of not having your feet on the ground. And it becomes a whole different experience. Is that what you're doing? Just because your feet are not on the ground, as you're being taught how to trust yourself so that you can fly, you're creating tremendous amounts of fear. Tremendous amounts of fear. If it's within your journey to get hurt, to be injured, you're probably not going to be able to prevent that. You're probably not going to be able to. You might be able to reduce the amount of injury if you take precautionary measures like putting on elbow pads and a helmet. But the more you fixate on worst case scenario, well, the higher the likelihood that you'll manifest that. I would say that's an inappropriate and irresponsible use of your power over yourself and your journey. The shift that changes your life, this shift is going to occur no matter what. It's already started. The shift has already started. You're not going to avoid this. I don't know what's going to shift, but you're not going to avoid this. So rather than charging negative potential due to your attention and hyperfixation, why don't you start focusing on some of the really good potentialities that are very probable? Those very, very good probabilities, right? I'm going to learn something amazing about myself. I'm going to do this and do that, and it's going to be perfect. It's going to work out beautifully rather than trying to force something, right? The other day I was like, okay, I'm getting a message from soul that I need to not do this particular thing. But I kind of fucking want to. I kind of do. And then I was like, okay, how about this? I'm being given a sign not to do this particular thing. If that's the case, how about this? If I'm given a second sign to not do it, then I won't. I'll leave it alone. I'll leave it alone. And then I'm given the second sign a couple hours later. And the relief that I felt knowing, okay, soul is guiding me. Soul doesn't want me to waste my time and energy on some bullshit. So now my time and energy is free to be applied to something else that's much more constructive, much more powerful. Something shifted in that. Something shifted in that, and it's now going to be an amazing thing. Not a Eventually it will become amazing, but first it's going to be really fucking messy. It's going to be messy, right? Butterfly garden, the space that we currently exist in. Maybe we're still caterpillars that are already engorged, already beginning the process of building our own chrysalis. We're in a butterfly garden and we're seeing what will happen after we're done with our own process. This is about us recognizing that we're not being left behind. We're not being left out. We are actually simply on our own timeline, that we will grow. We will experience this profound thing. But we just kind of got to go through our process first. Look, that person's gone through their process. Amazing things have happened for them. And that person has gone through their process. Look, amazing things have happened for them. And that person and that person and that person over there. Like, you're not being imprisoned. You're not being punished. You're not being destroyed. You're simply being invited to actively participate in the transformation that you are being invited to experience by life and by soul. The shift that changes your life is here. It is now, right? It is now. Card number 29, the perfect key, but it's in reverse. Ooh. I'm suddenly super cold. The perfect key. The heart is caged. The heart is locked up. So in reverse, what could this mean? Your heart has changed the song it sings, but you refuse to listen to the new melody. The melody is the instructions from soul. Right now, you're focused on something that you don't need to focus on. Notice how she's giving side eye. Notice how she's giving side eye. Giving Delulu, I'm not here, don't talk to me. Mm. If you want to fly, you need to remove the cage that surrounds your heart. I think for some of you, this is about really allowing yourself to feel love, to receive love, something about love, something about a heart process, a heart-based process. There's no new direction that you have to head down. It's a shift, not a complete change in direction. The changes in direction will happen slowly, gradually over time. See, look. Look at that. Holding on to a dream. What if you just need to be aware of that dream and you don't have to hold on to it with a death grip? What if that's a problem? You're holding on to your dream with a death grip, and in that, what's happening is you're altering the trajectory of that dream, the way that dream will unfold. Breathe. Release your death grip. It's going to be okay. It's going to absolutely be okay. Under my umbrella. But it's in reverse. Huh. I wonder if this is indicative of the way you're avoiding the cleansing that's happening in your life. Like you don't want to address certain things. Is that possibly what it means for you? Two messages. That the second message is more of a Blu-ray update. It's about Rain Man. Do you know who that's in reference to? People think that's in reference to Lucy, and it's not. It's not. It's in reference to Baal. Lucifer typically doesn't require blood sacrifices, typically. Baal does. Baal absolutely does. Yeah. So this is some type of parrot, right? This is about a parroting that's happening. There are those who are receiving information. Oh, this is too much. This is too much. People are going to be afraid again. Michaela, stop. It's if you scare easy, just like mute this until I put my hand up because it's not good. It's not good. The Blu-ray update. This is in reference to Baal. Baal is creating parrots, people, beings who are parroting truth, parroting spiritual truth. And they're regurgitating this information to try and lull you into a space of compliance, into a space of lack of fear of them. There's something big that's happening. There's something very big that's happening because the next card is the art of seduction, whispering in your ear, seducing you with knowledge, trying to corrupt you. You guys need to be careful during this period. I don't know how long this period will last, but it's a formal attempt to seduce. It is a formal attempt to use words that are not organic to that individual. It's a delivery method that's being used. And there are going to be those who will ride that parrot. That parrot has really minimal idea of what it's communicating. Parrots are smart, but they don't have the capacity to be as smart as a human. This has to do with organic portals. And this looks like she's wearing a red dress with lotus on it. She's gathering the ones who don't understand they are a lotus, thriving in the muck. She is seducing the ones who think the hardship that you face is unfair. She is seducing the ones who need everything neat and tidy and to be in control because they're afraid. They're afraid of what's going to come. Parasitic stuff's about to ramp all the way up. It's going to ramp all the way up. Hold on. Parrot, be discerning about when to speak and when to stay silent and steer clear of gossip. It would be a good time to study the power and effects of light and color. Be alert to any ideas that pop into your head, as these may give you some ideas for growth or a new direction for yourself. It's time to revisit and renew something you've always dreamed of doing, as now is the perfect time to act on it. Okay. It's the message. 8-armed Kuan Yin, Bodhisattva of compassion. When stuck in anger, cultivate compassion. Cultivate compassion. Cultivate this understanding that's trying to be developed by soul so that you don't get stuck in that loop of Dharma, that Dharma wheel. What ignites the fire inside you? Look within. So something is trying to ignite the fire. And that fire is your passion. Remember, the other card, it was passion in reverse. Something is trying to utilize all of your energy. It's trying to waste your energy. It doesn't want you to go beyond its reach. These parasitic things, they're phase locked in specific levels of dimensional consciousness. I don't know if you're aware of that. Demonic things are phase locked in specific levels of consciousness. And once you transition into a higher level of consciousness, these things can't access you. Now, demonic things are not all 4D. Some of them are extremely high level. Did you think it was only the grunts that fell during the rebellion? The principalities were once seraphim. They were once archangels. They are high frequency. The grunts are lower frequency. Yes, of course. There's many of them. But I think what's being told to us is that the lesser, the lower will no longer be able to access you, but you still have to be prepared for the higher levels to try and do something. It's not something you have to be afraid of. You just have to be aware. You just have to be aware. Mother energy pours forth life, stepping into that matriarchal energy, being responsible for your health and safety, not counting on someone outside of you whose level of integrity, you don't know, right? You don't know who that is. Yet you're trusting them to tell you things. You know what's funny? Well, it's not funny, but it kind of is. This lady responded to my video on mirrors and the whole lock your mirror thing. And a couple of videos after that, maybe 2 or 3 videos after that was posted, I recorded another video telling everyone, like, listen, that was never meant to scare you. This is how you lock your mirror. Don't worry, you're fine. Just lock your mirror, cover it, whatever you want to do to feel safe. She didn't bother looking for that. Instead, she just commented on the original mirror video and was like, listen here, lady, what you did was so evil. You're wicked. I think that's what they said, something along those lines. And so I responded with a video comment of like, that's like a 7 or 10 minute video. If it didn't resonate, if it was creating disharmonic feelings, you should have just scrolled. You should have just been like, no, lady, nope, scroll. Right. And so that video response that I created was then stitched by another person. At no point did that first commenter ask me to show them how to lock a mirror. They were just like, you're wicked. Now I'm scared. You're wicked. Which that's fine. That's your opinion. Well, the stitched video was this entire tirade of a girl who was like, you fucking bitch to me. Yeah. It's because you don't know, you're weak, like all just like going off. And it was like, oh, tell me how you really feel. Mind you, the original commenter never asked for help. It was just an accusation. So then what happened? Well, that was not my priority. My priority was setting the record straight about the lies that are being told about me. And the person that stitched my video was regurgitating, was parroting the lies that were said about me. It was just full hate-filled parroting. They were just a parrot for something that wanted to harm me intentionally. As a matriarch, I had to decide what was the priority. The priority was setting the record straight. The priority was securing legal counsel, legal advice, so I know what my obligation is for myself and all of my companies that are being affected by this. So several days go by and, I've received proper legal advice. Things are being kind of pursued in the legal route. And now I have time to respond to that, at which point I was going to stitch that video and be like, you could have just asked me. If you had taken the time to look at my profile on TikTok, you would see maybe 2 or 3 videos after that one that scared that woman. I posted it. How to lock your mirror. Except here's the thing. While I was prioritizing what needed to be prioritized, I assume that woman looked through my videos and realized she'd been bamboozled. She deleted her stitch. Babe, we downloaded it, but I mean, we did. I have a copy of it still. She deleted her stitch because she realized you're a fucking idiot for believing somebody who still doesn't even know me. You don't know me. They don't know me. You just shown yourself to be nothing but a blind follower. One woman attacking another woman with zero provocation. Zero. So I could have took it upon myself to go ahead and upload the downloaded version of her stitch. Is that an appropriate use of my personal power and time? But Emmy, she didn't apologize. I think her removal of that video is her apology. Some people are incapable of verbalizing their awareness of how wrong they were. They simply will try and erase it and hope that no one saw it. That's okay. It's not for me to nitpick at people. They're going through their own thing. It was taken down. No biggie. No biggie. As a matriarch, fully entrenched in that matriarch energy, it is my job, my duty, my obligation to myself, to our community, to my businesses, everything, to choose how I'm going to responsibly use my time, energy, and platform. Mother energy pours forth life. If you pour that energy into a cup that's tainted, the whole thing you poured in there becomes tainted as well. Pour your energy only into cups that are clean, cups that you can turn around and sip from if you need a little bit. This is the time where the shifting that's taking place needs to be decided by you. You need to be fully present and fully participating in what you will shift into. Become a warrior to dispel the darkness. Warriors don't fight nonsensically. Warriors who have honor don't hide in the shadows. They don't. You see, in Western culture, we absolutely romanticize the ninja, right? Y'all want to be ninjas. Ninjas have no honor. They're fallen samurai. They hide in the shadows, they cover their face. They fight with trickery, sleight of hand. Do you want to be a ninja or do you want to be a samurai? Because what you choose and the way you perceive it is highly, highly indicative of the type of company you keep, the environment you exist in, and the way those two things have impacted your perception and how that perception has skewed your perspective. Focus on beauty, manifest harmony, but it's in reverse. So I think for some, you need to begin doing inventory. Take inventory of what you're manifesting. What have you been influenced to manifest? What have you been influenced to behave like? You still have to take accountability for your behavior. You do. Michael says to acknowledge. There are 3 people who have participated in the attempt to magically harm me during these live streams as of the last week or so. They're still here, but they're not attempting to harm. They're listening. I appreciate that. I appreciate your openness to seeing how you can become more empowered in your life. You don't have to follow me. My thing is, you shouldn't follow anyone. You should think for yourself. And it's amazing that you're using your sovereignty to begin recognizing how you have been injured repeatedly in your support of specific things. Just because you've been previously injured supporting things that were malignant, that you didn't realize were malignant, doesn't mean you have to continue doing it. And you're evidence of that. So that's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's good to see that you think for yourself. I'm not trying to convince you anything of me. I'm not trying to convince you that, I'm the one you should follow. I'm the one you should listen to. I'm the one that's right. No, I'm here more celebrating that you're thinking for yourself and making decisions for yourself. There's a major consequence if it's found out that you are actually just watching me and not trying to harm me. Protect yourself. Not from me. but from the fallout of finally starting to think from yourself for yourself. Protect yourself. Defend yourself from that. Okay? I'm not going to harm you. I got nothing to gain from that. Cosmic map to your true, playful, laughing self. When feeling disheartened, stop and watch a child at play, but it's in reverse. So it's this thing of you've been watching embittered adults fighting for so long. Oops. Maybe at first it was your parents, and now it's complete strangers. You watching them fighting for what? For what? He said, she said. She said, she said. Why bother? I'm only interested in the things that will help grow me, help further heal me. I've been through some fucked up shit in life. I have. And I would say those circumstances that were really fucked up, they were the moments where I had the opportunity to choose rising to a higher degree of existence by not simply being a mirror of a lesser consciousness, by instead choosing how I will move through that opportunity life has presented me. And you might be like, what type of opportunity? An opportunity to see how I can responsibly use my sovereignty. Just because someone who's afraid of you invites you to fight doesn't mean you have to take up that offer, doesn't mean you have to accept that invitation. I've come across truly strong people in the time that I've been publicly visible. And those people have never really been interested in fighting or starting shit. It's fascinating. Like, no matter who comes to them and tries to sell them a storyline of, you need to fight her, they're just like, for what? For what? And that's kind of how I see things too. Like, for fight for what? For some perceived hierarchy on a social media platform? That's not real life. That's social media. That's just social media. It's not a big deal. There are many things that are not a big deal. And there are some things, few and far between, that are absolutely a big deal, even though it's just on social media. And when you're facing something that's an absolute big deal, even if it's just on social media, you do something about it. You do what is necessary to neutralize that. Nothing more. Nothing more than what is necessary. Nothing more. Anything more than what's necessary is an improper use of your time. It's an irresponsible use of your power over yourself. Use everything you have to build the life that's worthy of you, knowing that as you're building that life, you're becoming the version of yourself that is worthy of living the life you're building. I would say this has been an amazing period of growth through introspection for me personally. I hope the same has been true for you, but this period of introspection is profound. Oh, let's do a Kali card because, oh Lord, it wasn't that dramatic. Hold on. Okay. There we go. There we go. Okay. So, I'm running out of time. Let's see what Kali has to say. Jai Kali Ma. Jai Kali Ma. You know, Kali is a mother figure. She's a dark mother. Um, mhm. Oh, I'm in a different time period, aren't I? This is a different timeline. That's so weird. Jai Ma Kali. Kali comes from the Sanskrit word kala, meaning time. Time is the ultimate leveler. Love that. I love that. She's associated with time, change, creation, power, destruction, and death. Jima Jikalima. In the religious storytelling, Ji can mean victory of gods over demons in celestial battle. In peaceful terms, it can mean success, wishing ourselves success. Ooh. Ooh. Even in destruction, she reminds us that good really can come of bad. Love it. Mm, 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 mm. Oof. All right. I could read on this a ton. Oops. Um, all right. Mm-hmm. Some people will invite your inner Durga to come out. I'm telling you. A Durga is still a goddess, but a goddess capable of destruction. Dakshina. Mm-hmm. Okay, card number 7. Ooh, the number of completion. All right. Dakshina. Fear can undermine your confidence, erode your trust, and steal away the joy you take in living. The benign yet mighty Dakshina Kali manifests to conquer fear and realign your mind and path towards peace and light. Make a sincere offering from your heart to her now, and you'll receive her generous blessings and assistance. Open your heart with trust for that which is blessed and beautiful wants to manifest in your life. Dakshina Kali conquers even the most extreme fears. She steps forward with her right foot, a sign that she will create order from chaos. Her 4 arms are raised to bestow blessings into the and to wield the divine weaponry necessary to protect the soul. She restores and realigns. I'm getting tingles like a mofo. She restores and realigns, deftly eliminating that which has no place on your soul path. Her actions are powerful and benevolent. She appears fierce, yet is benign. Her oracle brings the message that a situation which may frighten or intimidate you is well within your capacity to handle. No matter how dramatic or intense a scenario may appear to be, it shall become little more than a passing memory and shall not have any negative bearing upon your future. As Dakshina, Kalima is the portent of a fiery sunset, an ending to a truly frightening and difficult time. Yet this brings a new inner experience of courage, self-trust, and a renewed, increasingly empowered personal relationship with the divine. She is a reminder of the dark night that allows for rest and regeneration before the light of sunrise awakens us into a new cycle of experience. She is with us through both dark and light. She arises in a reading to bring comfort and reassurance that you are allowed to receive wonderful blessings. If you have been enduring suffering, not only will she bring it to an end, she will ensure you gain something of tremendous value from the experience to help you avoid greater suffering in the future. To engage the peaceful blessings and psychological renewal that Dakshina Kali bestows, you can make an offering. The term Dakshina means gift, typically the gift you would offer to a healer or a spiritual teacher with gratitude for their teachings and blessings. What could anyone possibly offer to a great being such as Kali Ma? Love, affection, prayers, especially prayers that relate not only to us, but to all beings in need. Honor and reverence. Why are these gifts sufficient? Ma is an enlightened divine presence. She has no need for flattery or gifts to elicit her love, grace, and protection. She gives that freely and generously. The offering to her is about what it does for us on a human level. Making a genuine offering opens the heart and puts us in a position to truly receive. To demand from an entitled perspective, locked in ego or blocked in fear, does not open us to her. Even though she pours forth love and healing in great abundance, we are like concrete with the water of her love sliding over us, unable to permeate, restore, and nourish. We need to be like tilled soil, open and receptive, capable of taking in her grace. For that to happen, we need to place our hearts and minds in the best state to engage with her. An offering is a humbling act of respect and acknowledgement. It's an act of imploring. It opens the receptive channel in our hearts. Dakshina appears when we are in need, and the Divine Mother wishes to bring a blessing into our lives. She's a reminder to put ourselves into the best state of receptivity. No matter how good or deserving we may strive to be, if we cannot open and allow the grace in, our wounded perspective shall continue to have the upper hand in our minds and create further suffering in our lives. If we believe we do not deserve grace, are not worthy of the gift of the Divine Mother's healing and love, and we are not willing to trust her and drop our defenses, then we are saying, thank you, but I cannot accept, for this gift is too much. Do you wish to allow such attitudes to deny the Divine Mother's free-flowing blessing in your life? If not, then give to her. Give to her to allow yourself to receive from her. Every being benefits because her blessings are enlightened, bringing healing to you and simultaneously improving circumstances for all beings. Be like a child who asks their mother for a beautiful gift and who knows it will bring their mother pleasure to bestow it on them, therefore increasing happiness for all. You can only experience that if you allow Dakshina to enter your heart and your world. You have free will. What shall you choose? It's about knowing you have the right to choose. You have the capacity to choose, that you don't need anyone telling you what you need, don't need, what you should choose, not choose. People who get angry about you being able to decide for yourself, about you being given all the information and making a choice that goes against what they believe you should choose. Those are people who feed off of you. They feed off of you. That's the type of person that would be angry that someone who is not threatened by you retrieving your power and acknowledging how powerful you are, they would be angry that someone would tell you that you're powerful. Why would I not tell you that? I'm evolved enough to know that I'm not the most powerful thing in existence. And I'm powerful enough to not feel afraid or threatened that you are entering into your power. Anything short of that, you really should question why you listen, why you allow that to have access to your thoughts. The shift that changes your life. I believe that you can choose whatever you want to shift into. I would hope that you choose to shift into something that's beneficial for you, that carries with it a lowered potential of negative experiences. Life is not meant to be easy, and you'll experience things as is appropriate for your growth. Sometimes those are difficult experiences. Most times, it doesn't need to be. So choose wisely. Choose wisely. No matter what, the shift will occur. No matter what, the shift that occurs will change your life. Don't be scared of it. Just let it happen. Be fully present and make the decisions that choose the decisions that would help you to have the type of experience you prefer. Okay? I gotta go. Please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me when I'm live.